Today I want to share with you the journey of a performance media agency and how they solved their cash flow challenges and managed to get a better sleep at night. Let's dive in. The key challenges that this agency were facing were managing a really large media spend and over 100K for some clients for 1 month. So they had to spend 100K of Google ads and then collect that cash off their clients. And there was often a gap between when they spent it and when they could collect it, which was a huge hole in their cash flow that we needed to solve, essentially. It didn't help that these clients were the big end of town. They had big accounts payable departments and they didn't always pay on time. They would often treat the agency as the little guy in this situation or the little girl and not pay on time or give them excuses. So the 30-day terms would sometimes stretch out to 45-day terms, which again, widened that gap in our cash flow. We already spent the media and we had to still meet our payroll. So it created a big problem. The 30-day terms were part of that. So that's why that was an issue. And then as a result of these large media spends going through the agency's business, they had a big quarterly tax burden. Their business activity statement bill was large as a result of this. Sometimes if they collected a bunch of media in one quarter and then hadn't got the bill to the following, there was a big BAS that we had to account for. So that was another issue that we were trying to solve. Here's the transformation and here's how we did it. First, we separated what their true revenue was, their retainer revenue, versus just the Google media that we were collecting. This really helped us see the true operating performance of the business and then cancel out the noise of all the pass-through costs of the media spend being collected and the media spend being spent. We still tracked it, but right down the bottom of the P&L, and we were just assessing the pluses and minuses to making sure we collected everything that we'd spent and we weren't in the hole to our clients. We also shortened the payment terms on our invoices from 30 days down to 14 days. This enabled us to chase the clients quicker for the cash, which leads into the third point here. We had really proactive accounts receivable management. So as soon as the invoice was 1 day late, there'd be a friendly email. A few days later, there might be a friendly call. And eventually we trained the clients to expect us to get in contact if they were late, which really sped up when we collected that money. And that was a really, really important part of solving this cash flow challenge. We also used a bit of strategy to help with this cash management. We set up invoicing for Google advertising spend, which meant that we had 5 weeks to pay the Google bill once they sent it to us. That gave us 5 weeks in order to collect it off the client, which really helped. And we also had an Amex card. So the Amex card would collect points, which was a nice bonus. And we had that as a backup in case there was any gaps in our cash flow, we could use that as well. So that was kind of like a little backup liquidity for us. And the tax burden that I mentioned, the big BASs, we established a bucket strategy in order to put aside funds to make sure that we had enough to pay that quarterly tax bill. And that really helped with the founders' visibility over what was their money, what was the government's money, and it really gave us a clear idea of what cash we had to play with versus what cash was just media spend collected versus what cash is the government's. So really, really clear picture of what cash was ours. And that was a lot of the work we did to help solve their cash flow challenges. The impact was healthy cash flow. So streamlined payment terms, staying on top of AR, and then using the Google invoicing terms, giving us that 5-week buffer really helped. We had a lot more healthy cash flows. And we eventually, as I mentioned, this second point here, timely payments. The clients got used to us chasing them and they would pay on time. But there was a couple of times where people didn't pay on time. But because we were so proactive, we had really good bad debt management. There was 2 bad debts from other clients and we stopped work after they didn't pay the first one and we'd issued a second invoice. One of them went bust and we actually didn't collect the invoice, but we stemmed the bleeding on the first invoice and we didn't get in the hole too much with them, which was really good. Sometimes people let their age receivables grow too much and you've got multiple invoices outstanding to a client. You need to be really on top of that. And as a result of that, we only got stung for 1 invoice outstanding and we'd stopped work after that, which was really good. And then we also built a war chest to help the founders sleep at night, build up some cash reserves with that improved cash flow throughout the business. That gave them a peace of mind to help them sleep better at night, which was a huge, huge win for them. And we had some cash on hand to grow the team. We could make hiring decisions really well because we knew what was coming up and we knew what was our money and we had cash reserves backed away in the war chest. We could make those hiring decisions with confidence. So that was the cash flow story of this performance media agency. If you have any challenges like this, feel free to get in touch. Would love to have a chat and maybe help you solve the same challenges. Thanks for watching.